Hey everyone, welcome back to Afterlife Experiences. Before we jump in, drop your country in the comments below. It's amazing to see how these real-life experiences are connecting people from all around the world. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any powerful testimonies like these. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, my name's Samir. I never thought I'd be telling a story like this, but I just have to share it. A few weeks ago, I was on a flight that suddenly went terrifyingly wrong. It was a nightmare come to life. The kind of situation you hear about, but never think will happen to you. The plane hit severe turbulence, alarms blared, and people started panicking. And then, suddenly, I lost consciousness. What happened next was beyond anything I could have imagined. I found myself somewhere else, not in the plane, not in any physical place I recognized, but in a realm filled with light and silence. It was peaceful, but also full of a power that shook me to my core. And then, out of that calm, I saw a figure approaching me. It was Jesus. Yes, Jesus. A figure I'd heard about growing up but never thought I'd meet like this. What Jesus told me in the moment changed everything. He looked at me and said something I couldn't ignore. You will come back, and you will seek the Rosary. That sentence echoed in my mind because as a Muslim, I'd never held a rosary or prayed with one. But his message was clear. I needed to understand this, to seek it out, to hold it close. I woke up on that flight with people around me screaming and praying. I was gasping for air, alive, but changed forever. Since then, I've been grappling with what I saw and heard, trying to make sense of it. And I want to share the full experience with you because I believe it's a message that's meant for more than just me. Stick with me as I take you through this journey, the fear, the visions, the revelations, and what it means for faith, hope, and transformation. When I woke up, the chaos on the plane was intense. People crying, praying loudly in many languages, flight attendants rushing up and down the aisles. I felt my heart pounding like never before. But inside me, something else was stirring. This strange, unshakable sense that what Jesus told me wasn't just a dream or hallucination. It felt real, urgent. Over the next hours, as the plane stabilized and we landed safely, I kept replaying his words. You will come back, and you will seek the Rosary. I had no idea what a rosary was, really. In my life as a Muslim, we have prayer beads too, but I never thought much about the Christian rosary or its meaning. Now suddenly it felt like something I needed to understand, like a key to something important. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind was racing. I felt this burning need to find out more about the Rosary, what it was, and why Jesus would tell me to seek it. I started searching online, watching videos, reading about its prayers and mysteries. The more I learned, the more I felt drawn to it, not as an outsider, but as someone who had been called to something new. Then the memories of that place flooded back, the light, the peace, but also the intense presence of Jesus and the urgency of his message. It wasn't just about beads or prayers, it was about a spiritual journey, a transformation I needed to undergo. It felt like a bridge between my old faith and a new path I had to explore. But with that calling came fear and confusion. How could I reconcile this experience with my upbringing? What would my family think? Could I really embrace something so different? The struggle inside me was real and painful. Still, I knew I couldn't ignore what happened. I had to follow where it led, no matter the cost. There's so much more to this story. The visions, the conversations, the moments that changed me forever. And I'll keep sharing every detail with you. As the days passed, I found myself caught between two worlds. My heart was pulled toward the Rosary and the prayers I had learned about, but my mind wrestled with doubt and fear. I prayed to God in my own way, asking for guidance and clarity. The memories of that light-filled place and Jesus' words stayed with me like a burning flame I couldn't extinguish. One night, while lying awake, I was suddenly transported back to that realm of light. It was brighter than before, and this time, Jesus approached me with a gentle smile. He held a rosary in his hands and showed it to me slowly, bead by bead. Then he began to explain, not in words, but in a way that touched my soul, the power of each prayer, the Our Father, the Hail Mary, the Glory Be, and how the rosary is a path to peace, healing, and deeper connection with God. I felt tears streaming down my face because I realized that this wasn't just a Christian object or ritual. It was a gift, a tool for prayer and meditation that transcends boundaries, that brings hearts closer to the divine. Jesus told me that my journey was only beginning, that through the rosary, I would find the strength to overcome fear and find true peace. When I woke up, I felt different, more hopeful, more open. But the challenges weren't over. Sharing this experience with my family was difficult. They didn't understand why I was drawn to something outside our faith. There were arguments, accusations, and long silences. But inside, I knew this was the path I was meant to walk. The rosary became my anchor. Every bead, every prayer felt like a step toward healing the wounds inside me. It connected me to a love so profound, so real, that it surpassed all my doubts. There's still much more I have to share. The moments of doubt, the revelations, and the peace I found, but this was a turning point in my journey, and I want you to hear it all. From that night on, the rosary became more than just a prayer tool. It became my refuge. Every time I held it, I felt a connection to something bigger than myself, a peace that I had never known before. But it wasn't easy. Old fears, old doubts, and the voices of those around me often tried to pull me back. My family questioned my changing beliefs, and some of my friends drifted away, confused by the transformation they saw in me. Yet, the more I prayed the rosary, the more I felt healed. The mysteries, each one telling the story of Jesus and Mary, opened my heart in ways I couldn't describe. It was like walking alongside them, sharing in their joys and sorrows and finding strength in their faith. One night, while praying, I felt Jesus speak directly to me again. He told me that this path was not just for me, but that I was called to share this message with others, especially those who might be lost or confused like I was. He reminded me that love is the greatest power, and through the rosary, that love flows freely. I began to understand that my near-death experience wasn't just about me waking up on that plane. It was a call to transformation, not just spiritual, but in my whole life, to live with compassion, forgiveness, and faith beyond what I had known. The journey hasn't been easy, but every prayer, every bead has brought me closer to peace. I want to keep telling you this story because I believe it can bring hope to others, no matter their background or faith. There's more ahead, more lessons, more moments of grace, and I'm ready to share them with you. As my journey continued, I began to notice changes, not just within myself, but in how I viewed the world and my place in it. The rosary prayers became a daily practice, a source of comfort during times of doubt and fear. Each bead seemed to carry a story, a promise of mercy and grace that Jesus wanted me to understand deeply. One night, while meditating on the sorrowful mysteries, the moments of pain and sacrifice, I felt a profound connection to the suffering of others, regardless of their faith or background. It was as if my heart was expanding, breaking down walls of judgment and fear that had held me captive for so long. Jesus appeared again during one of these moments, not in the overwhelming light this time, but gently, like a friend. He told me that true strength comes from humility and love, and that the rosary is a path to embracing both. He reminded me that no matter where someone comes from, everyone is invited into this love. The more I embraced this truth, the more I realized that my story wasn't just about my experience on that flight or my encounter with Jesus. It was about the journey of transformation that anyone can take. A journey from fear to faith, from division to unity. Sharing this has been difficult, especially with my community and family. Some misunderstand, some reject, but others listen and ask questions. And that gives me hope. Hope that love and faith can cross even the deepest divides. I want to keep walking this path and sharing what I learned because I believe it's a message for many, a bridge between worlds. There's still more to come, and I hope you'll stay with me. As I continued to pray the Rosary daily, I began to experience a peace I had never known. It wasn't just a fleeting feeling, but a deep, steady calm that carried me through the chaos of life. The more I meditated on the prayers, the more I understood their power to heal wounds, both visible and invisible. I realized that these prayers weren't just words. They were a spiritual weapon, a shield against the fears and doubts that had haunted me for years. One day, while praying the luminous mysteries, I had another vision. Jesus appeared again, but this time the light around him was softer, more comforting. He spoke to me about the importance of mercy, how God's mercy extends to all people, regardless of their past or background. He told me that the Rosary is a way to enter into that mercy, to open our hearts to forgiveness and love. I felt overwhelmed by the magnitude of this gift. The Rosary wasn't just for Catholics or Christians, it was a bridge to God's heart for everyone. I knew then that my journey was about more than personal healing. It was about sharing this message of mercy with others, especially those who might feel lost or rejected. This realization gave me courage. I started reaching out to people from different faiths, sharing my story, listening to theirs, and finding common ground in our shared search for God's love. It hasn't always been easy. I faced skepticism, rejection, and moments of doubt. But the peace I found in the Rosary kept me going. This journey is still unfolding, and I want to keep sharing it with you all. The next parts will reveal even more about the transformation I experienced and the hope I found. As time went on, I began to understand something truly profound. That this experience, this near-death encounter, and the message about the Rosary was not just about me. It was about a larger spiritual awakening happening in the world, a call to unity, love, and reconciliation across different faiths and backgrounds. I remember one particular moment during prayer when I felt Jesus' presence so strongly it brought me to tears. He showed me how the Rosary is more than a set of prayers. It's a way to meditate on the life of Christ and his mother Mary, to walk with them through joy and sorrow, and to grow closer to God. It's a path that can heal wounds, break down barriers, and bring peace in the midst of chaos. Jesus reminded me that love is the greatest commandment and that through sincere prayer, hearts can change. He urged me to be a messenger of this love, not by forcing beliefs on others, but by living the truth I had been given and sharing it with compassion. I realized then that my journey would be full of challenges. I'd face rejection, misunderstanding, and even hostility. But it wouldn't be in vain. Each step forward was a testament to the power of grace and the possibility of transformation. Now, as I continue to walk this path, I'm committed to sharing this message with all who will listen. The Rosary, the prayers, the love, they're for everyone, regardless of background. The story isn't over. There's one last part I want to share, the culmination of this journey and the hope it holds for the future. So here we are, the final part of this journey I've been sharing with you. After all the visions, the prayers, the struggles, and the hope, Jesus showed me what truly matters, the invitation to love, to forgiveness, and to peace. The Rosary became a symbol of that invitation, a bridge not only to him, but to healing and unity. Jesus made it clear that this path is for everyone, no matter where they come from or what they've believed before. It's a call to open our hearts, to lay down fear and pride, and to embrace the mercy that flows endlessly from God's love. I know this journey hasn't been easy. I faced doubts, rejection, and the challenge of walking a path few understand. But every step has been worth it because I've found peace beyond what I imagined possible. And so I want to leave you with this. No matter your background or beliefs, there's a place for you in God's heart. The Rosary, the prayers, the faith, they're gifts meant to bring light to our darkest moments and strength when we feel weak. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it brings you hope and encouragement, just as it has for me. Stay open, stay hopeful, and keep seeking truth and love. Because in the end, that's what really matters.